Yo, guy, yo, guys, what is up? This is Real American Josh here, and I'm back with another episode of the NFL Game by Game predictions. And right now, I'm doing the Packers, and like Packers last year, they lost Aaron Rodgers for the year. They really struggled after he went down. Brett Hundley struggled a lot. This year Aaron Rodgers should return, but I mean, if you look, the Packers, in my opinion, they play a very tough schedule. And I mean, my results for the Packers may be slightly surprising to you guys. I don't think the defense is there. I think the defense is in a worse position than it was before. Like they got rid of Demarius Randall in a trade for a backup quarterback, Deshaun Kaiser, and in my opinion, Deshaun Kaiser is worse than Brett Hundley. I know it was just his rookie year, but good lord, like this Deshaun Kaiser, he threw so many interceptions. I actually think he's not as good as Brett Hundley was. Like Brett Hundley played okay in some games, he just wasn't great. And like you got rid of Demarius Randall, who was probably your best uh, or second best secondary player other than Clinton Dix. Maybe Morgan Burnett's better than him. But anyways, guys, like the offense added Jimmy Graham in the offseason, but look, I mean, the Packers' offensive line still isn't amazing. Like Howard the tackle is going to come back from injury. How will they do coming back from injury? Like Bakhtiari, like I think he's still pretty young, but the right tackle Bulaga, I'm pretty sure he's 29 or 30 now, and he's coming off an injury. Like how is that going to affect his play? Like the interior offensive line already isn't amazing, but they got two pretty decent running backs. But will the running backs be able to run behind this offensive line? Like, that's the question. Anyways, let's get into this. They opened up the season at home against the Bears on Sunday Night Football, and I have a 30-13 win for the Packers in this game. But then the next week at home against the Vikings, I've got them losing 24-14. I just think the Vikings are too talented of a team. I mean, Kirk Cousins, look at what he had in Washington. He really didn't have great weapons in Washington, except for that one year he had Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garcon. Uh, you know, like, uh, I think he had them for a year or two, but like Jamison Crowder, Ryan Grant, and Terrell Pryor, who really struggled this past year, like, is that really great weapons? He got a major upgrade in the weapons that Minnesota has, like Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, maybe Laquan Treadwell can come into his own this year and play decent, because I'm pretty sure this is the last year he's going to get to actually do that. Maybe he can actually play like a first-round pick and live up to hype, because if he does, adding Kyle Rudolph at tight end, the running backs, Dalvin Cook, who's he's a dual threat. He can run and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. And Latavius Murray is a power back. Like, the offensive line for the Vikings is really good. Like, you take that, the offense should be pretty explosive with the upgrade with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a definite upgrade over Case Keenum, Sam Bradford, and Teddy Bridgewater. So, Kirk Cousins, he will do great things in Minnesota, I feel like. And the defense, of course, is really good, among the NFL's best. Like, they're up there with the Jaguars, and they're up there with the Jaguars and Eagles as one of the best defenses in the NFL. Like the Eagles, Jaguars, and Vikings are probably the top three teams when it comes to pass rush in the NFL. I'd say the Broncos are number 4. Like, I'd say those are your top 4 elite defenses, are the Jaguars and Broncos from the AFC, and then you got the Vikings and Eagles from the NFC. And yes, I'll be doing the Eagles today too, so you'll be able to see what I think about the defending Super Bowl champion. So stay tuned for that. But all right, like I said, the Packers start out 1-2, and then next game on the road at the Redskins. You'd be surprised to have them losing that game 28-16. I think that trip to Washington, the last time they went to Washington, they were absolutely blown out of the water, and I feel like the Redskins, they're an okay team. They're an okay enough team. Alex Smith, I feel like I feel like he can do something against the Packers. Like, he's done it in the past. He has beaten the Packers in the past, and I feel like he can do it again, you know. Like, next game at home against the Bills, and I've got them losing 31-28. So a 1-3 start for the Packers. They're starting off slow. Remember when Aaron Rodgers came back and played that game against the Panthers? He threw 3 picks against the Panthers secondary that's not really great. The Bills have a really good secondary. The Vikings have a really good secondary. The Redskins, the Bears, all those teams have pretty decent secondaries. Like, the next game at the Lions, you just watched my Lions video most likely. I've got the Packers going on the road and getting a nice 31-13 victory. And then the next week, at home against the 49ers, I've got the Packers picking up a 26-13 victory. So the Packers have picked up back-to-back wins. And then make that 3 straight as they go on the road and beat the Rams 34-30. The Rams are going to be a really good team, don't get me wrong. But they're not going to be an undefeated team. They're not going to be absolutely unstoppable, you know. Like, you got to see how these players gel together. Like, they could end up not being a great team at all. Like, you know, you never know. And then the next week, on the road at the Patriots, the Packers pick up a 24-23 victory. So they've won 4 straight after a 1-3 start. So they're now 5-3. But of course, next week at home against the Dolphins, if you've already seen my Dolphins video, the Dolphins 30-28 victory. Packers fall back to 5-4, but they do pick it up again the next week with a 30-12 victory on the road at the Seahawks. Like, I feel like the Seahawks, they're going to be an okay team. They're maybe average. You know, there's some games where they'll look like a contender. There's some games where they're not. Like, you know. Then the next game on the road at the Vikings. All right. So the Packers will fall to 6-5 here after a 40-27 loss to the Vikings. They pick it up the next week with a 28-20 win at home against the Cardinals. And then at home against the Falcons, they pick up a 34-12 victory. So, if you look, not bad for the Packers, you know. All right, but then it's a loss to the Bears on the road, 21-19. You know, like I said, the Bears, they're not going to be an amazing team, but they are going to be a team that can make some noise and pull off a few upsets. And I definitely feel like the Bears are a team that can do that. And they do that against the Packers and against the Lions. The next week at the Jets, the Packers win 35-10. And if you've already watched my Lions video, the Lions pick up the 28-24 victory over the Packers. So the final record, Packers go 9-7. And that might be surprising. But, like, that has potential to be a playoff record depending on how I feel, you know. I still got to finish scheduling out the rest of the NFC, the last 2 divisions, and then set up the playoffs. The Packers might be a playoff team. They may not be a playoff team. Like, I'm not exactly sure yet, you know. I have to look at how I think the rest of them are going to do, you know, but I still have 2 more teams here in the NFC North to do. You know, I still got the Vikings who are next, and then I got the Bears. You know, and I'm really excited. Like, the Vikings I'm gonna go ahead and spoil a little bit. The Vikings are gonna be the class of the NFC North. Like, the Vikings are clearly the best team in the NFC North. They got a great offense and a great defense. Like, they're better than the Packers, Lions, and Bears. Definitely the Lions easily. They're pretty much easily better than the Lions. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up this video, guys. Real American Josh out. I'll be doing the Vikings next. Peace.